Alright, so for this video, I'm going to be installing an aftermarket trigger into the Action Army AAP-01. So this trigger is specifically the Action Army trigger, and it has been custom anodized to be green to match all these other green parts up here that I'll also be installing, but I'm not going to put that in the video. It's just going to be the trigger, alright? So, the first thing you need to do is you need to start disassembling the pistol. So you're going to rack it, just separate the two halves, and then separating it, it's this button right here on the back. And then now, you start taking stuff out of here, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is the safety. We're going to remove the safety. So grab like a grab like a pin or something, and we're going to push that in there, right? And then that'll pop out. Kind of jimmy that out. Right, and then now we're going to do these screws. So they're Allen screws. So I have my wrench standing by close. Not this one. It is this one. Just going to unscrew these. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up because it is all a little bit dark in there, but you unscrew, there's 3 screws up here that hold in the front chunk of metal. And again, sorry, I lost my normal tools, so I got these little baby tools, but these are going to work fine. Just might not be the best video because my hands are going to be closer to the actual thing. Right. So we have all the screws out, and then now we're going to press this pin right here, right? So we're going to grab our punch, and you just push it through. It's not going to be super hard or anything. You don't need to pound on it. Just remove that pin, put that off to the side, and then these 2 pins back here too. Same thing, shouldn't be too difficult. They should just push out. And if they don't push out, that is a problem. They should be able to push out without a hammer or mallet or anything. So now we're going to remove this whole front chunk. So we're going to turn to the side. We're going to pull on the front, and then careful not to lose that spring. Set that off there. Then we're going to remove all this stuff. And there's another spring. Do not lose this one. This one can be invisible on the floor, so don't lose this one. All right, and then now you need to remove the whole hammer portion, just a little bit, just enough to get the trigger out. So remove a little bit, and then you want to be careful about this little follower thing here. There's also a spring in there that you can lose very easily, so be very careful. Right, sorry about that interruption. I'm back. Don't know exactly where I left off, but I assume I was taking this out because that's where it is. So this little follower piece is spring-loaded, so when you take it off, you need to be very careful. All right, probably put your finger over that, remove the lower, and then remove the trigger bar, and then very slowly, very carefully remove all this piece, because it is spring-loaded, and you don't want to lose that spring because that would be dumb. Okay, so everything is off to the side. You're gonna put this off to the side as well, and we're gonna put this off to the side, and now I just have this. So the first thing, we need to remove this pin that's in there. Okay, so we're going to push. Maybe we can do it by hand, and that looks to be the case, which is nice. So yep, and you don't need to get the pin all the way out. All you need is this piece to come out. Okay, now trigger. I have a new tool that I'm going to show you guys real quick, and it's going to be necessary for me because I'm on top of rubber and I want to keep everything in frame. So I have a multi-purpose stud, right? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use it just to keep everything in frame on this video, but this is gonna be a hard thing to pound into, right? So this pin that's in here is the wrong size for this trigger. They put that one in there just to hold everything in place. So we're gonna just pop that out. And then the correct one is in one of these little baggies over here. And the one that's in the front that holds in the safety, that one is the longer pin. All right. And these triggers are going to go in, or the pins on the trigger are going to go in the opposite direction that pins normally go in. Okay, so we're going to put these out here. And this one is longer. Gonna put that in, and we're just gonna kind of hand put it in a little bit just to get everything all situated. Gonna grab our punch. Gonna push it down just a hair, and then now we're gonna grab our mallets or hammer, whatever you want. And you want to be careful not to scratch your trigger. So just very, very carefully tap it in until it's flush. And that looks flush to me. Go in a hair more. Right. That's good to me. So now we're going to move on to the other one. And so trigger bar. Do you see the orientation that it's in right now? That is the correct orientation, okay? So if you put it upside down, you're gonna have a bad time. So we're gonna put it in here. And you're gonna need to be on the edge of a table or something like how I am now, how it's on the edge. I'm gonna kind of put it by hand because we want the bar to be down on the side. We don't want to accidentally bend the bar or anything. We're gonna grab our punch. And we're just going to push it in just to get it kind of set. Make sure everything's all good. And then we're gonna grab the mallet again. I'm gonna tap it in. Alright, it's almost there. And this part's probably going to be a little bit hard to see on video just because of the nature of holding a punch in the trigger and the hammer. Alright, that's going to be good. I'm not going to go any further than that. That is perfectly fine. So punch is done. Mallet's gone. And then the stud, we can say goodbye to our stud. All right, and everything should be all loose. So if it's not loose, you did something wrong, okay? And the last part is there's a little set screw, and we're gonna put that in after it's in the gun, okay? So we're gonna go back to the gun, grab the hammer part. Sorry about bumping that. I have my hat on and I forgot I have my hat on. And then we're going to put this little follower piece in, right? We're going to hold it with our finger. Then the trigger is going to sit in this area in here, this cutout area, okay? And this is a very multitasking thing, so we're going to put the trigger in the trigger hole, and then we're going to put the hammer on. We're going to line everything up correctly, Being very careful we don't launch this spring across the room. Right, and there we go. Just set that in there, and then push back on this button to push the hammer set all the way back in. And this is going to be loose in there because you don't have that whole chunk in there. I'm going to go ahead and put these pins in now. So the dumbbell pin is going to go up here in the top. And then you're going to grab our punch. You're just going to hand push it in. And then the other pin is just a straight pin. And again, we're just going to hand push it in. All right, and then now we're going to grab the big chunk. I'm just going to go up here. Make sure the trigger is sitting in there good. And then we're going to grab these two pieces. So the spring is only going to latch on there. Well, it needs to latch onto that little bar that's sticking out. And you want it to be all in line. And I pinch it with my thumb and my pointer finger. And then I slide it just back through here. Get it set in there. And the last thing is a spring. So spring is going to go on, connect to the trigger bar, and then it connects to a little pin up here. I just pull it with my hand and I get it put in. I'm not very good with using the pin for that part, but you can use a hook or something if you need to, but that's in there now. And now we're going to put in the main trigger pin that goes up here. If you twist it, it helps itself get in there super easily, so I twist it when I push it in. Right, so that's on there now. And then we only have a few more screws. So we're going to put in the bottom screw first. It's going to sit in there. And the reason we didn't put that the set screw in yet is because in order to get the safety put back in, we need to not have that screw in. That screw is going to make it impossible to put the safety bar back in, right? So safety bar, the red part goes forwards. Just push it in there until it gets almost all the way. And then you're going to grab your little punch, and then you're going to push right here. Right? You're going to you're going to pull it kind of until it goes in, and then now it's in there. You have your safety. It's a dumb safety. I just disable mine whenever I have guns, but it's back on there now and it works. Then we're going to put these in. And then the little set screw. Oh, I'm terrible at opening up bags. We're gonna grab a tiny wrench. And then you need to pull back on the trigger. So you need to pull the trigger, and then you're going to see that it exposes a little hole inside of there where you can drop this screw in to the trigger. I'm going to put in most of the way. That should be fine. We can test the functionality. We pull back the hammer, push that guy down. Yep, and it's gonna work. Alright, so there's the trigger install, and then obviously you just need to put your upper back on the gun. Alright, and there you have it. Got the aftermarket trigger in there, and it's all set, ready to go. And this will work for just about any trigger, but do keep in mind that some triggers are going to have different tolerances and are going to require some work to make them fit. But if a trigger is drop-in capable, it's gonna go in exactly like this with no work required, right? So that is it. Have a nice day.
Back road dealer, 100 different ways to ride. If you'd have seen what I seen, done what I done, you'd be looking for